to be a millionaire. And actually, seven figures might be your ceiling, but I want it to be your floor.
That other rapper got a hit, but shout he not out. Who set the city on fire soon as he got. Woo! Bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth. Come on. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Hey. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Hey. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. VIP coming live from the VIP. Heard the nightlife, lost life without me. Both feds in the state wanna see.
Hello, family. Hey. All right, y'all. We're here. Go ahead and let's say what's up in the chat. Let me know where you are logging in from. Hey, Laverne. Hey. What's up? Welcome to the big day is here, y'all. Like, not tomorrow, not next month, it's here. It's today. So say what's up. Let me know where you're representing. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at the chat because I want to make sure that I say hello to you all. What's up, Maurice? Hey, Sarah. Liz, hello. What up, Jennifer? Brianna, hello. My good sis, Shaniqua is here. What's up, sis? Agnes, what's up? Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Berlina from the Shy. Ooh, we got Guam in the building. What's up, Guam? Hey, Chantrice. Hello, Faith. Hello, Monique. Hello, Latoya. What's up, Kimberly? Soon to be Dr. O'Neill. Hello, Rhonda. Hello, Jessica. Hello, Chiquita. Hello, Dr. Cassandra. Let me know if I need to say Cassandra. What's up, Dr. Speed? Hello. All right. Hey, Vicky. We got Canada in the building. Charlotte in the building. ATL. Y'all, the time is here. You probably heard me talking about the book. If you've been on my side of the internet, you've heard me talk about the book is coming. You see me giving all the updates with transcripts and publisher, and we're finally here. And so I'm super excited about the opportunity that we have here tonight to stamp the moment of what is the actual cover. Like, let's actually get this thing going. We got the cover reveal tonight. We got the new website we're launching tonight. We're launching pre-order. So we got a stacked agenda. And I just want to be able to set the space here so that way we can properly be able to take advantage of the community of the time and with each other. And so I got my Columbus family in the building. What's up, 614? What's up? I'm so excited. Y'all, this is not the time to be calm, okay? This is not the time to be chill. Like, this is the time to get hype. It's the time to get hype because I think tonight is such a milestone moment that represents not something really big for Seven Figure Educator, but it represents something really big for our community. And so I'm excited for us to be able to launch the cover of the book tonight. I'm actually want to do a little bit of a mini teach around some of the thought process around the marketing, the strategy related to some of the things that you're going to see tonight, because it's more than a reveal. This is a moment. And so if you know that this is a moment, go ahead, drop a moment in the chat. For our Seven Figure Educator family. If your biz bestie ain't here, tell them to get here, shoot them the link so that way they can pull up. We want to make sure that we have as many of our folks in community here tonight to be able to stamp this moment, because this is something that's truly historic in the Seven Figure Educator community, where we have no intentions of being the best kept secret at all, because we know, and there's lots of our folks who are in the chat who represent our community who can testify to the beautiful things that are happening in our community and what happens when educators bet on themselves. What happens when educators get financially free? Let me tell you, oppression gets nervous. Okay, because we shake tables, we shake systems, and when good people get more money, we do even more good things. And so I'm excited to be able to kick off tonight. We got a thorough agenda here tonight, which I'm excited to jump into. And so if this is your first time here, maybe you just saw me online and you saw the cover reveal, or I just popped up on your LinkedIn, and this is your first time with me and it happens to be on such this magical moment, I want you to go ahead and drop a 1 in the chat for my OGs who you've been around the block, you ain't new to the 7-figure educator community. You could, give someone the game on how we roll because we waive our receipts with no shame. We know that joy is an act of resistance, and we absolutely believe that if anybody deserves to be a millionaire, it's an educator. Go ahead, OGs, drop an OG in the comments. If this is your first time with me in any capacity and you're joining us here for this super magical moment, just go ahead and drop a 1 in the chat. And Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Look at the OGs representing. OGs are representing. We not true to this. We're not new to this. We true to this. Okay. Y'all, every time I see that or say that, I think of Bebe's kids. I know. If you know, you know. Okay. We don't die, we multiply. Okay. Which I feel like, I don't know, that might be the new SFE motto. We don't die, we multiply. Okay, period. Okay, all right. We got a few first timers. OG, go ahead, welcome our ones in the chat. Say what's up to them. Come on, Camila says 10X. Keith, we're glad you're here. Welcome, Keith. Super excited you're here. And so let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to go ahead and start with introducing myself. My name is Dr. Erica Jordan Thomas. I am a former teacher, former principal. I started my career as a high school math teacher in Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to all my North Carolina folks. I went on to become a principal in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was actually an AP, went on to become a principal. I did new leaders. So if we got any new leaders in the building, shout out to new leaders. And part of my story, which, leads us here tonight is, I absolutely loved what I did as a teacher. I absolutely loved the work that I did as a principal. I thought I was going to be a career principal. And the reality is that I was doing what I thought was my life's work, and I was struggling financially. So as a teacher, I was paid $33,000. As a principal, I was paid $70,000. I worked in a district where you got paid once a month. If you know about that once a month paycheck life, okay? Listen, and particularly if you get paid once a month, I know you being stretched right now between December and January. I know that life very, very well. And it really what came out of really a disruption of me feeling so tight and doing my best to attempt to budget and still not being able to feel free. I realized you can't budget your way out of being underpaid. And so I was like, I could either keep saving money and it's still tight and I'm trying to rub 2 pennies together, or I could just make more money. And so that's what was literally the seed that was planted that led me to starting my consulting business. And now fast forward to today, me and my team, we help educators just like each and every one of you monetize their brilliance to build, growing, and scaling a 7-figure education consulting business. So I had my very first 7-figure year, meaning 7 figures in annual revenue in 2022. I have had 7 figures every single year in business since then. We've continued to grow every single year to where now we're a multiple 7-figure company. And so when I say 7-figure educator, I can feel it in my bones, because that has what's been true for me. And it is our mission as a company to make that as true as possible for as many educators as possible. So that's me. Listen, Camila says January is rough. Listen, we know when you get paid before the winter break and you got to make that paycheck stretch, it's tight. It's tight. I saw a reel the other day. It was like, you're a teacher who hasn't been paid since December 15th when you making sandwiches with the ends of the loaf of bread. Like you making sandwiches with the loaf ends. And I'm like, baby, I remember. Okay. So here's where I want to start and frame up this conversation, particularly for our ones who are new to this community, new to our ecosystem. Like I really want to frame the purpose of the book, some of our stances and values that really inform the conversation that you're going to see tonight. It's going to inform how I thought about the book cover. It informs, all the values that are actually underneath the words on the pages of the book. And I want to start with lies that we've been sold as educators. We've been sold this lie of you got to be grateful and stay humble. If you grew up hearing stay humble, drop a 2 in the chat, right? Where I don't want to discredit the value of humility. And I think humility has been used as a tool, and actually the better word is a weapon for us to play small. There's a time and place for humility. So when I go back home and I was visiting my grandmother, of course I'm going to be humble. But when I am stepping into a room of other 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs, that's not the space to be humble. It's the space to take up space, right? So even just starting there, like, be grateful. Like, why would you want more? You should be grateful for what you already have. And again, we're not saying that gratitude isn't important, but I want you to start to reflect on what are some of the narratives and messages, either culturally or professionally, that we've heard, that the unintended consequence, when we take them to the extreme, they actually result in us playing small. If you've ever heard that you didn't get into education for the money, or we don't do it for the money, drop a 3 in the chat. If you've ever heard that, right? So I'm like, so what we get it? Like, so how we supposed to pay bills? Like, jeans passes don't pay bills. And so apples don't pay bills, right? So this value that we're supposed to feel guilty for desiring more, right? And I want us to make sure we can have a dialogue here in the chat. And so, if there's something I'm saying that sparks an idea for you, or if you want to respond to other people in the chat, please, please, please leverage the community to be able to engage with each other. But again, this idea of why is it that no other profession is told, well, we didn't get in it for the money, but education, which is a profession, if we really want to go there, a profession that's predominantly women. And historically, when women were excluded from other professions, but they were welcome to be a teacher, why is it that profession is told you didn't get it for the money, right? So really being able to interrogate some of these beliefs that keep us playing small. What about this one? Hard work speaks for itself. If you've heard that one, put a 4 in the chat. If you've ever heard your heart, just keep your head down and work hard, they'll notice you. Your work will speak for itself, right? And I believe that us as marginalized people, we cannot afford to let our work speak for itself, because oppression will suppress stories. Oppression will pick and choose the narratives that best serve keeping the existing power structures in place. So if your work is challenging a power structure, working hard is not going to make your work more visible. Like, you actually got to speak your work. You got to speak your receipts, right? So when we're talking about this idea of really challenging these narratives, like, that is the essence of why I wanted to write this book of 7-Figure Educator, the book, because there's been so many beliefs that we as educators have been socialized, and they've been ingrained in us, that if we don't question them, they keep the current power structures in place, that we will feel celebrated for getting a 2 or 3% raise. We'll celebrate that. And again, a raise is great, but 2 to 3%, like that's it, right? So here's what they don't want us to know, is that teachers earn 23% less than other professions with the same level of education. And I was just having this conversation today with some colleagues and some peers, where they asked me my thoughts on this article that basically said that, in this economy, in this marketplace, they're noticing an uptick in Gen Z entering the teaching profession. And why is it that what people consider to be, more unstable economic times, that people become teachers? Like, why are we the fallback plan, right? 81% worry about covering basic expenses. Does anybody remember that Time magazine cover of a teacher that was like, I have to donate blood plasma in order to pay my bills. If you remember that, just I don't know if we need to drop a side eye or what in the like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And those are the things that we've normalized. Educators of color face even wider gaps and fewer leadership pathways. If you know that to be true by firsthand experience, I want you to drop A as an apple in the chat. If you know that to be true, because that was my experience where, I wanted very early, I was clear, I wanted to be a principal and I had to get in line. I had to get in line by seniority. I had to get in line behind the other people who maybe on paper, I was actually more effective, but because of either years of experience or they were in the principal internship program or, networks or whatever, there was less opportunity, right? So when we're having a conversation around all of these topics, like these are the things that undergird the purpose of the book and the power of Seven-Figure Educator. And when I think about, I've had people for a while that have been telling me like, you should write a book. And I'm like, yo, the timing has to be right. And first off, I wrote a dissertation. So let's be clear. Like, this ain't my first book, just to be clear. This ain't the first book. And like, I wanted to make sure that I had pressure tested business concepts, business strategy, enough in my own business, because integrity is really important to me. I want to walk the walk and talk the talk. But also I had pressure tested it enough with our community and had enough success stories and case studies to be able to stamp it in a book. And so Seven-Figure Educator is the blueprint I wish I had. Because this is the blueprint for how to turn your experience into income. It's the blueprint for how to price your value of your services. It's how to step into leadership outside of the system, because this is the time where actually that good government job actually ain't the safest option. Okay? I don't know if anybody else grew up here and get a good government job. That actually ain't the safest option anymore. And I deeply believe that educators are uniquely positioned for entrepreneurship because our job, our profession requires us to be entrepreneurs. Meaning we have to create within existing systems. We don't sit at desk all day. No shade to anybody who sits at a desk all day, no shade. But like when you are responsible for the learning of a classroom, when you are responsible for the learning of a school building, when you are responsible for the learning of an entire district, when you're responsible for the learning of a child care center, when you're responsible for the social and emotional support of an entire school, of an entire district, when you're responsible for the curriculum of an entire school, of a classroom, of an entire district, there is an entrepreneurial bone that you have in your body. So yes, you do know how to run a business. You just haven't started one yet. And this also is the blueprint for how to build wealth without leaving your purpose behind. Oftentimes we're told, well, there's this false choice that we have to make. Well, I either have to, go make money or stay in education, as if you can't stay in education and make money. And entrepreneurship is the pathway for your purpose and for your purpose and getting paid to intersect. Like, they don't have to be mutually exclusive, right? They don't have to, it's not an either or, right? Both of them can actually coexist. So that's what Seven-Figure Educator was birthed out of. And my community knows that I am adamant about strategic planning, that's one of my gifts. That's one of our power standards in our curriculum, is your ability as an entrepreneur to strategic plan, i.e. you need to have a lesson plan for your business. And I, again, was having a conversation with some peers today, and they asked me the question, like, when did you first think about writing a book? Like, was this something you just decided to do last year? Was this something that came up for you? And it was the first time anybody had asked me that question. And for my folks who are in our community, you all know that a part of the strategic planning process, we start with the vision. We start with the 5-year vision, and then we map it back to a 3-year vision, and then we pull it back to a 1-year vision of what needs to happen this year. And when I was in my doctoral program, and I started in 2018, graduated in 2021. So in 2019, I was able to do an independent study, and I created a syllabus for my independent study. And guess what I made my final exam? Just take a wild guess. Let me know in the chat. What do you think I made my final exam? And this was back in 2019. I kid you not, y'all. I don't be out here lying, okay? Back in 2019, I created my own independent study because I had a vision. And my final exam that I put in my syllabus was a book proposal. And so that was 6 years ago. And that's because 6 years ago, I had put in my 5-year vision that I was going to write a book. At some point, like I didn't quite know the topic. I didn't know what the chapters were. But because of that moment, I was like, I want to start flexing my learning muscle. And I made the book proposal the final exam for myself in order to actually start to learn the traditional publishing process, to learn the components of a book proposal. So I say that because what we're talking about tonight, the launch of the book tonight, is something that I've been plotting and planning on since 2019. And it is finally here. Between submitting the proposal, finding an agent, getting a book deal, writing the manuscript, picking the book cover, and even I have book cover options that I shared with you all. And I was like, yo, I need some feedback on the book cover. And you all gave me such great feedback that allowed me to get to a place that felt so good for what was going to sit on a shelf and represent this book, represent this community, represent our values and what we're all about. And part of the thing that I had to think through as I was going through, okay, actually making the choice of the book cover is, what do I want it to communicate without even having to open the pages? So this is a marketing nugget. What do I want the book to communicate before you even open it? Which is also why I'm not on the cover of the book. Because I mean, I'm cute, but that is not, from a marketing standpoint, the cover needs to communicate the tone of the book, the vision of the book. And, you know, I like a little good trouble, that I also wanted the cover to feel disruptive. Like I actually wanted to challenge the beliefs of education. So, my friends, it is time for us to start the change. Change starts now through this book to create options for your family, your future, your purpose. You buy back your time through the concepts of this book. You stop tolerating environments that drain you. You start leading from a place of power, not exhaustion. You model possibilities for other educators who feel stuck, and you break generational patterns around money, struggle, and scarcity. That is all what this book is about, and a part of the intentionality that I approached with picking this cover. So, my friends, it's time. It is time for us to be able to reveal the cover of 7-Figure Educator, the book. And y'all, this is such a special moment. Like, yes, we're going to make it dramatic because I'm here for the dramatics. Okay. The camera has zoomed out. Okay. And I was like, we're not just going to share the screen. Like, we got a big old printout that after this party, I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm going to get it framed. I'm going to put it somewhere. Okay. We are going to finally reveal to you the cover of the book. And so here's what I need you to do. I'm going to need you to count down with me. Go ahead and count down with me in the chat. We're going to start from 5. Okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Release them. Hey! Welcome to 7-Figure Educator, the book, the cover A nice, big old, juicy money apple. And for my OGs, you know that the only apple I can get with is an apple wrapped in money. Okay? Y'all know how I feel about apples. This is the only apple I could get down with. So I actually want to take an opportunity and I actually want to do a little bit of a think aloud of a mini lesson of how I got here, particularly for my OGs, because my OGs who have, been in the ecosystem, you have heard me talk about apples where like I've even had a campaign where I ran over an apple. Like I hate apples. I hate apples being attributed to or associated with the education sector. Like I hate it because I'm like, there is no other profession that we equate to fruit. And I don't care if an apple represents knowledge. I don't care. I don't care. It is another way that you demean our profession, that you make us cute and crunchy and sweet. Like, no, because you don't call doctors grapes. You don't call lawyers oranges. You don't do that. So I don't care if an apple represents knowledge. It's another way that you deprofessionalize our profession is you associate us with a fruit. And I had to actually have some deep conversations about the cover because my publisher, they asked me ahead of time. So in terms of a quick like mini lesson in terms of process, your publisher on your cover. If we're talking traditional publishing, okay? Where my publisher asked me feedback of, well, what do you want? Like, what are your non-negotiables related to the cover? I said, it has to exude wealth. It has to exude expertise. It needs to be I don't want any crayons. I don't want any chalkboards. I don't want any pastel colors. I don't want scissors. I don't want anything that's the cookie cutter, like branding or marketing related to education or teacher. Like, I don't want any of that. And I said, if you don't listen to nothing else I say, do not put an apple on the book. Do not put an apple on the book. And y'all, they sent me back the cover, and what you think was on it? What you think was on the book when they sent me examples? The one thing that I said, don't put on the book, they put a golden apple, and it looked like a paperweight. And I was like, this ain't it. But then I had some conversation with my community. I reached out to some mentors. I have a couple book coaches, and I had conversations with them. And two things came up during that conversation. And this is a nugget. If you're thinking about traditional publishing or publishing a book or writing a book, I want you to take note of this. Is the first thing that came up was one of the things that I said to my publisher at the very beginning of this journey was, my book is not an education book. This is a business book that happens to be for an audience of educators. So one of the like hidden curriculum pieces to publishing a book is there's something called a BISAC code. BISAC. You could Google it later. A BISAC code. Every book has a BISAC code. It's almost kind of like the Dewey Decimal System, but for like books, traditionally published books. It's essentially the code that determines your category. So that way, when you walk into an Amazon or a Barnes and Nobles, that BISAC code determines what section you go in. And I made it very clear to my publisher, because it's your publisher who finalizes your BISAC code. I made it very clear to them that my primary BISAC code needs to be business, not education. So that way, when you walk into any Barnes and Nobles or Books A Million or any bookstore, you have to walk to the business section to find Seven Figure Educator, the book. So this book is going to sit on the same shelf as John Maxwell, as Profit First, as 10X is easier than 2X, as The Science of Scaling, as The Big Leap, as the Blue Ocean Strategy. It is going to sit on a shelf in a sea of books of authors that don't look like me. Because most the authors in that section don't got blonde boho braids and a nose, okay? So even just the positioning of where the book is disruptive. I'm not in the education section. We're in the business section. So because of that, the style of the book had to be had to represent a business book. So there was a little bit of like minimalistic, clean design that I needed, but I didn't want to skew so far to the business side that it lost like the identity part of it. And so that's like reflection number one. And the reflection number two is that I was talking to mentors about this apple. One of the, and this is why having mentors and coaching is so important. They gave me this healthy push of like your cover needs to call in your target audience. So your cover, just by simply walking past the book, it needs to grab the eye and attention of your target audience. So even though I disguise an apple, it's one of the few things that will grab the eye of an educator, that it will call in an educator. But I didn't want a red apple, even my favorite apple is Red Delicious. I know y'all Granny Smith folks, I don't get it. I don't like the sweet tart. My favorite apple is a Red Delicious, okay? But I didn't want no red apple. I didn't even want the green apple. I was like, the only way I can get down with this is I have got to create a visual disruption. Like it can't just be any old apple. So I actually hired a designer for the book cover, and my publisher gave me the blessing to be able to do that. And when working with the designer, I said, I want you to wrap the apple in money. I want you to wrap it in money. Because what does it mean for the thing that represents education to be wrapped in money? So that led us to this book cover. And I really have to shout out this community and the feedback from this community because one of the big pieces of feedback that someone gave when I asked for feedback on these different covers, if you look at the top of the book cover, you have it here on the actual slide screen. But the top of the book cover is if anybody deserves to be a millionaire, it's an educator. And that wasn't on the original draft of the book cover. But the feedback that I got from this community made it so overwhelmingly clear that that mantra is something we need to lead with, and it cannot be hidden in the pages. It has to be an inspiration that's on the cover. So I just got to shout out this community, shout out the feedback, shout out all the ways the community has poured into us being able to get to this point with the book cover. And so, if you are new to my side of the internet, or if you're not new, you already know that my goal for this book is really clear. Like, I'm on a New York Times bestseller journey where my goal for this book is to hit the New York Times bestseller list. And that is not about me. Like, it's not because I want to be a New York Times bestselling author. To me, I'm like, what would it represent if a book called Seven Figure Educator, not six figure educator, not five figure educator, seven figure educator that is about educators making money, what does it represent for that book to be a New York Times bestseller? So this is about a movement. It's not about me. That this is a way of being for education and educators that I don't believe should be a secret. I believe it deserves a national platform. So a part of that is there's some very strategic learning experiences that I engaged in because I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? Like, I know New York Times bestseller, but like, how many books is that? Like, what's the strategy? What I need to be thoughtful about? Like, so the BISAC code was one of those nuggets where the BISAC code matters because, as you know, there's multiple New York Times bestseller lists. So by me being classified as a business book, so back up. On the book on its own can qualify for two New York Times lists. The advice how to a miscellaneous list, and then the book is first released as paperback. That's the second list that it can qualify for is paperback nonfiction list. And because I was really, really thoughtful and intentional with the BISAC code and being categorized as a business book, there's actually a third list that I could qualify for, that the book could qualify for a New York Times bestseller. Because there's a monthly business New York Times bestseller list. So again, like this is the hidden curriculum. Like the BISAC code determines what list you qualify for, right? So and getting into all these learning experiences, it led me to our goal of 15,000 books by publishing date. So, publishing date for the book is June 16, 2026. So, drop in the chat 6/16/26, 6/16/26, 6/16/26. 1626, 61626, 61626. That is the publishing date, June 16, 2026. So the publishing date matters. This goal of 15,000 books matters. And by when? 15,000 books by when? So here's the other like mini lesson slash nugget. Books. So the New York Times bestseller list is a weekly list with the exception of the business New York Times bestseller list. That's a monthly list. So the list drops every week and the books, any book's best shot at making the New York Times bestseller list is the first week. Why do you think that is? Let me know in the chat. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that the best chance that a book has at the New York Times bestseller list is the first week? Celeste says because it's fresh. What else might come to mind? Listen, Aseli, it's coming. It's coming. I'm gonna set you because I know as soon as I drop that link, people ain't gonna pay attention. I need to set this up so that way we locked in. Peak marketing time, marketing needs, new, high volume, momentum, payday, boom. Danielle got it. Danielle, hey Danielle, pre-sales. So pre-orders. So pre-orders of the book, meaning of the book before the book is published, count during the first week. So depending on when you start to pre-sale, really that's dependent on like when links are ready, when the book is available to pre-order. All of those pre-sales count for week 1. Pre-sales do not count week 2. So the number that New York Times bestseller is going off of for week 1 is not just the book sold the week that it published, but it's going off of all the pre-sales. Okay? So that's why, again, this goes back to strategy. And I was having a conversation with some peers today of like, they asked, well, why do you think authors, struggle with book sales? I'm like, most of them don't plan. Because 15,000 books, my goal is 15,000 books by 6/16/26, but I can't start selling the month before. Pre-orders matter. So here's the thing. Y'all know I'm strategic, and we're going to kick off publicly pre-orders tonight. But because our team has been testing and because I am strategic and because I'm a planner, we've already been privately pre-selling. Y'all want to know how many pre-orders we got already? You want to know how many pre-orders we got? Tell me in the chat. Okay. The goal is 15,000. And we're launching pre-orders tonight publicly, and it's January 15th. We got until June 16th. So January to February, February to March, March to April, April to May, May to June. So we got 5 months. So we are getting ready we have a 5-month runway for pre-orders. So all of those pre-orders that happened during the 5 months count for week 1. So I see in the tell me's come in the chat. So as of today, and again, we haven't even launched this publicly, we have 912 pre-orders. So we are starting with a head start. Okay? Like the gun ain't even we done already started running. Okay? So this movement has momentum. We're not starting from scratch. And each of you is a part of this movement and a part of the journey of ensuring that we are shouting from the roof. Anybody deserves to be a millionaire. It's an educator, and this book represents. And so tonight, you have the first opportunity to be able to grab your pre-order copy of the book to help us meet our goal of 15,000 books by June 16th, 2026. Now, before we drop the link in the chat, we're going to drop it here in a second. I promise, I promise. I want to be really clear so that way, I can save my team some emails because I love our community because our community ride or dies for us. Our community gets very excited. And sometimes when we get excited, it's hard for us to still listen and hear all the details. Let me give you details first, okay? Because part of why pre-orders matter, and then from an entrepreneur and author standpoint, I also want to share a little bit of strategy of how do you create momentum with pre-orders because it's far in advance, right? So let's first name with why pre-orders matter. Okay, so this is a mini lesson. Take notes if you're trying to launch a book, particularly if you want to be traditionally published. I want you to take notes. So first, why pre-orders matter is it provides early feedback to the publishers on the impact of the book. So here's the thing. Traditional publishing means I'm operating within a system, which means I have to know their rules in order to leverage their rules in order to be able to win my race. And I have to show to my publishers that this book has momentum not until June. Because if they see that we already got a couple thousand copies in January, they're like, oh, baby, them educators ain't to be played with. Okay. Here's the second thing that's really, really fascinating. It helps inform the publisher's printing projections. So the manuscript is finalized. We're in the last stage of finalizing some graphics. Like I got an email earlier today around one of the graphics we submitted, like they need the text enlarged. So like we're at the like really small detailed part, but like 90%, the manuscript is done, right? 90% done. So the book hasn't gone to print yet. And I'm getting blurbs, the last couple of blurbs that are going to go on the back of the book. So the publisher uses pre-orders to determine how many books it needs to start printing for pre-orders. So think about like if it's Black Friday, right? Like how many product-based businesses during Black Friday ran out of inventory? It's a similar process where the average book in its lifetime sells 2,000 copies. So that's the average book. And the publisher is going to maybe print a couple hundred copies. But we're already almost 1,000 copies. I need you to have 1,000 copies ready, minimum like now, right? So pre-orders help inform their projections in terms of how many books they need to print to be ready for publishing. So if y'all ain't got 15,000 books ready, somebody's book is going to be delayed. And y'all know how I operate with y'all and my community and customer service. Don't delay my people's books, right? So that's the other week. And I named this before is that week one of New York Times bestseller list is determined by week one sales plus pre-orders. So it will be on Audible. Audible is not available, but let me tell you a little secret. Audible is a different list. So I know, and as someone who is an audio like person where I prefer to listen to books, my ask of this community is that you pre-order a hard copy of the book and you can gift it to someone if you prefer Audible, but it is the actual orders of paperback book that actually are rolled up in the number. So great question. Okay, so that's why pre-orders matter. And there's two ways to order the book, okay? So there's a single order where you can literally just order a single book at a time. And You can do that through Amazon. We're on Barnes and Nobles, like Books A Million, like any place where you can order a book. But there are pre-order bonuses because I want to be able to say thank you to you all for betting on this book and ordering it 5 months in advance to be able to help us position this book on the publisher end, on the New York Times bestseller end. That I actually want to make it a value for you to be able to pre-order. So I got a couple of pre-order bonuses for you, okay? Juicy bonuses. My people know how I roll, okay? First, you got access. I'm going to give you access to a live 10K in a day workshop. So if you pre-order the book, bonus number one is I'm going to invite you to a live, not pre-recorded. I'm going to be teaching live. The only way to get access to the workshop is you got to pre-order a book. This is not for my clients are going to be like, can I get an invite? Order the book. That's the only way you can come to the workshop is if you pre-order the book. I'll teach you how to package a five-figure offer and sales strategy to nail a five-figure day. So this is 10K in a day. I want every member of our community to normalize having five-figure days. But part of that means you got to have a five-figure offer and a five-figure sales strategy. So that's bonus number one. If you're excited about bonus number one, put bonus number one in the chat, okay? The second one is a New York Times bestseller behind the scenes strategy session where I'm going to actually break down for you my strategy. Like, how did I get 900 pre-orders? Well, I'm going to tell you. What's my plan for 15,000 orders? The average book sells 2,000 in its lifetime. Given we got 5 months, we're trying to sell 2,000 books roughly every 3 weeks. So what's the strategy? I'm actually going to break my entire plan down and give you access to it because I believe you could run the play too, if you wanted to. Because it's nothing special about me. It's just I just know the strategy and I want to teach it to you. And then the third and final bonus is if you're excited about bonus number two, put bonus two in the chat. The third and final bonus is the moment you pre-order, you don't have to wait until June. I want to give you access to the intro chapter. So I'll send you the intro chapter so that way you can actually start reading and get an early start on the book now and start to see a taste of the book. Because y'all, I'm cussing in the book, just to be clear. So I don't know a lot of business books that be cussing, but I'm cussing in the book. And it's not bleeped out. It might be italicized, but it ain't bleeped out. Okay. Because, it'd be like that sometimes. Okay. So those are the 3 pre-order bonuses that if you pre-order the book, you actually don't have to wait until June 16th in order to actually get value from the book. That we are going to have those bonuses available to you prior to June 16th. And let me tell you how this is going to work, because someone will pre-order the book and they'll be like, all right, where's the for the New York Times bestseller strategy? When are let me get access to that workshop now. These things are happening between now and June. So when you pre-order, we'll send you email communication for when these up. Just know, like, these are things that are happening between now and June. Okay, we recorded. There are things that are happening live. So just an FYI there. Once you pre-order the book, our team will follow up with you and send you a badge. So this is a badge that if you are open to it, I would love your support in being able to share out into your network, in your world, that you pre-ordered the book. And our team is going to tell you what number pre-order you are. So you're following along on this journey. If our goal is 15,000, I mean, actually, we already got the 913th order. Someone ordered earlier today, and I was like, oh, they on the website? Okay. But we'll send you a badge. And for that particular person, I don't know if Dr. Falanda is here. When she posts her badge, she's going to update her badge to say that she is order number 913 of 15,000. So that way you all know that you are part of this movement. It's bigger than a book. It's bigger than a book. So we're going to go ahead and drop the link to pre-order the book into the chat. And y'all, you're going to see it. The website is cute. I got to shout out our, and I'm going to have some specific thank yous here at the end, but our team did their big one with the website. The website is just sfebook.com. And so let me name a couple of things here because you might be thinking this of like, well, how are you going to know if I pre-ordered? Well, if you pre-ordered the book, if you go to, and actually I'm going to share my screen so that way I can walk you through this. So when you go to the book website, there is actually a space on the book website. Y'all, ain't she cute? Ain't she cute? Look at her. Look at her. Y'all, the team put their foot in it. For OGs who know Mecca, next time you see her, hug her neck. Give her a big old hug on her neck because her and our web development team, they did their big one on this page. And so as you are on this page, the moment you pre-order the book, you'll see that there's the pre-order bonuses here in case you are later, you're like, hold on, what are the pre-order bonuses again? They're on the website. So that way you have that information. The moment you pre-order, this is really, really important. So make sure you don't miss this because you can't get the bonuses if you don't do this because there's no way we're going to know if you pre-ordered the book. Is once you pre-ordered, save your receipt, take a screenshot of your receipt, and then you have to go to the website and click this button, and then there's a form here for you to fill out and upload your receipt. So that's how we know you pre-ordered the book, and then our team on the back end will follow up and then get you access to the emails. So that way you're informed about the bonuses, you can claim the bonuses and all that, okay? So everyone, let's check on the standard. Once you pre-order your book, what do you have to do? Once you pre-order your book, and someone asked a great question in the chat, where do we go to pre-order? So when you're on the book page, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see the link here where you can pre-order from Amazon. So it's already on Amazon. You can pre-order from Barnes and Nobles. It's on Barnes and Nobles. You can pre-order from Bookshop. It's on Bookshop. You can pre-order from Books A Million. Okay? So those are the 4 places in which you can pre-order. All of those links are right at the bottom of the page. Alicia, tell me what you cackling at. I feel like we just tugged on your edge. Tell me what we tugged on your edges. Boom. So a great clarifying question, Dr. Mia. The book is first releasing in paperback, so you will not see a hardcover option. And actually, let me tell you something that's interesting about that. So this, and I think this speaks to why this book is so important. My publisher actually required that I release it in paperback first because their thought process was that paperback is cheaper and my audience is educators. So because of that, they made the decision, and I was like, I'm not going back and forth. Like, this is not the hill that I'm gonna, put a stake in. I'm not gonna go back and forth. And I understand from a business standpoint, I understand the rationale, but this speaks to why this book matters. This speaks to why the book matters. Okay? And listen, it kind of slaps you in the face, but low key, some of y'all was wondering if you needed to do VIP for the business school because you didn't want to pay $49. So in some ways, they ain't wrong. Because some of y'all had to drag on the VIP for the business school, and it was only $49. Okay? So yeah, it's like, dang. But also I'm like, you ain't wrong. But I also want to prove to them that, and for real, it doesn't matter if the words on the page are different, right? And once we prove that we hit with paperback, it's going to open up the door for hard copy. Okay. Okay. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead, pre-order your book, submit your receipt. So that way we can make sure you get your bonuses. Keep an eye out in your email over the next, give us, what'd you say, like 48 hours, business hours. Give us 48 business hours to be able to actually follow up with you in terms of your badge. So just give us 48 hours. Now, here, here is also what I wanted to share with you is bulk orders. So I wanted to provide the opportunity for bulk orders in a very particular way. If you know me, you've heard me say this in a couple different forms. I don't do a lot of one-on-one coaching. The only people who have access to one-on-one coaching with me are folks in my Lux Mastermind. I don't do one-on-one coaching. And for the sake of the book, I was like, let me offer a special opportunity that serves the purpose of being able to add value while also be able to support us in the goal of the New York Times bestseller journey. So I've decided that I am going to offer publicly for the first time in a long time, I am going to offer 2 VIP days. If you're not sure what a VIP day is, a VIP day is one-on-one with me. It could either be virtual or in person, but you got to come to me. Okay, just to be clear, you got to come to Atlanta, assuming I'm in Atlanta, on whatever day you pick, because I might be in DC. I'm trying to, be, I want to say bi-coastal, but I know that's not the most accurate word. I want to be bi-east coastal. Maybe that's what I need to say. But anyway, you need to come to me. And the way to be able to tap into I'm only doing 2 spots. It's from, I want to be able to deliver. I, don't want to have people wait until 2027. Like, I want to be able to show up for folks. I'm only doing 2. So if you know that you would be able to leapfrog in your business by spending a day with me, and that's everything. And you are one of the first 2 to be able to reach out and purchase the book. If you purchase 500 books or pre-order 500 books, which is a 5-figure commitment, you'll lock in one of the 2 spots. Okay, so and this is called a meta strategy. This strategy is called book in lieu of fee. So instead of paying my fee, you buy books. So if you buy 500 books, and it could be your organization buys 500 books, it could be you personally that buys 500 books, it could be your conference buys the book. And for context, my VIP days are $25,000. Just to be clear. So somebody done already clocked it in the chat. Okay. If you buy 500 books and you're one of the first 2, and let me be clear, if you don't want to go on Amazon and buy 500 books, you got to email us because we will work with you on the back end for pre-orders to secure your 500 pre-orders. You will have access to one of the 2 days. So if that's something you're like, yo, I want to make a move on, and maybe you decide, particularly for my folks who are 7-figure business owners, I'd be happy to do the VIP day with your team. Happy to do that. So you decide if you want it to be one-on-one or if you have a team and you actually would want to do it as a team, I'd be happy to do that. All you got to do is reach out to us at book@sevenfigureeducator.com. So shoot us an email, and it's not the first 2 to reach out, it's the first 2 that pre-ordered the book, the 500 books. So the first 2 that process the invoice, you blocked in the spot, okay? And if you're just like, okay, well, what would I do with 500 books? So maybe you would want the 500, you want to do it as an individual founder, business owner, and you're like, what would I do with 500 books? Well, you could make them gifts for your network. You could do them as giveaways at events or swag bags if you host any type of in-person or virtual event. They could be teacher appreciation week gifts, principal appreciation month gifts, or you could just say, hey, I'm gonna pre-order the 500 books, but I'll donate them so you and your team can figure out what to do with the 500 books, and we'll figure it out for you. Okay, you're like, I just paid the invoice. I'll donate the 500 books, but y'all figure out who they go to. And I'll be like, cool, I got you. Okay. So all of that information is there for you. We'll drop that email address into the chat one more time. of the books at Erica Jordan Thomas, or excuse me, books at sevenfigureeducator.com. We'll get that email address here in the chat for you. Okay. So let me know in the chat, which of the 3 bonuses are you most excited about? I'm gonna scroll the chat for any questions. We got team members here in the chat that can answer your questions. This is check for understanding question. Someone just asked, where do I upload my receipt? Where would you upload your receipt? Check for understanding. Once you've pre-ordered, where do you go to upload your receipt? Check for understanding in the chat. Um, ah, Princess, I was making a connection with what I said that prompted your comment. Yep, 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 yep. If you've already pre-ordered, go ahead. They ain't no money apple. We might have to figure out how to get a money apple emoji. The closest thing to it is a green apple, so I'll accept a green apple, knowing that the green is in the spirit of money. I want to send no red apples though. So if you've already pre-ordered your book, drop a green apple in the comments. Awesome. All right. Hopefully, Dana, you got the answer to your question. Where do you go to upload your receipt? You go to the website under step 2. Under step 2. We'll drop the email again for the pre-orders. It's let me go back one screen. It's book at sevenfigureeducator.com. Come on, green apples. And y'all, can I tell y'all a secret? If I could tell you a secret, put yes. Because this money apple was actually not the first design of the money apple. Uh, they gave me a first initial design of the money apple, and I said, "You gonna have to turn Ben Franklin's face away. Like I can't see his face. He on slave. So like we got the money, but Benjamin Franklin's face is not about to be on my book. So just turn the dollar bill a little bit. So that's my little secret. Where I was like, turn the money. So because we're not about to put Benjamin Franklin on the front of my book. Um, come on. Listen, turn it, turn it. Now, if it was Harriet Tubman on the 100, I could get with that. But I was like, you're not about to put no Ben Franklin on the cover of my book. Turn that, turn that. Okay, okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so now, so that's pre-order book. So the other aspect of this is, believe it or not, and folks who are OGs who are a part of the community, you've heard me name that you don't need a website to get started. So that has been and always been my mantra. That you don't need a website to get started. Uh, oh, y'all, my older sister's here. Hey girl, hey, hey, hey. She just texted like I'm on your book review. Hey girl. CBS is here too. So hey CBS, hey girl. Okay. So website reveal. Uh, believe it or not, so I like did a website early on, but it was really for the sake of like, I just need a home base to send people where I truly lived by the mantra, like you don't need a website. So I didn't fool with that. And then my business grew to a point to where, and we talk about this in our community, where websites are really a sales tool. So um, there's a lot of, I'm gonna grab me a little. I'm in my own kitchen. So I'm like, I need water. Give me a second. Let me give me a glass. Give me a little, give me a little glass to get some water real quick for my throat. So there is so I redid my website when I got to the point where a website is a sales tool and a website is necessary. When now like the majority of your funnel, top of funnel is cold traffic, meaning now a website is a trust building and authority building tool. So that's necessary when the majority of your traffic is cold. But when you're starting your business, you should actually prioritize warm and hot traffic. So that's why you don't need a website. But then there comes a time in your business where actually you do need a website because in order to keep growing and scaling, you got to convert cold traffic. You've tapped out your network. So when I got to that point, that was, I think, 2021. So back up, y'all. This was my very, very first website, 2018. I want you to take a look at the picture. The website, I couldn't even go back and like pull it up because it's been updated since then. But my very first website I built myself. I just launched it and put out into the ethos. I got with one of my teachers who was a photographer on the side. We went to downtown Charlotte. I did my own makeup. I did a fresh twist out the night before. I ordered me a little African print jacket and we just went downtown Charlotte and took pictures, right? So it was not the big photo shoot you see today. It was like literally DIY, just get it done. So the very, very first website that I built, it served the purpose that it needed to at that time. And then I redid the website in 2021. But now going into this book launch, no, it wasn't 2021. I think I redid it in like 2019, maybe 2020. And I hadn't updated the website since like 2020. So if you went onto my website, I mean, we ended up putting like a under construction because we needed to redo the website. But last year, if you went on my website last summer, it said I was still a doctoral student at Harvard. My website was old. So one of the things that has been a priority with the book launch is we had to update the website, but also, and I think this is a really, really important nugget for you all, we've gotten to the space in this company where I actually now need to separate myself from the company brand, where I have the company has to stand outside of me and I have to stand outside of the company. So I realized I actually need a whole new brand kit for like I can't use the seven figure educator. Oh geez, no. When you see that gold and black marble, you know that's seven figure educator, right? But that's seven figure educator. That's not Erica Jordan Thomas. So I actually had to define the brand of who is Dr. Erica Jordan Thomas and how does that translate into colors? How does that translate into copy? And so we spent a lot of time really being able to answer some of those questions. And I actually want to show you the mood board behind the website of, and this is a little bit of a marketing mini lesson for you all of what were some of the questions that I had to ask myself, some of the questions I had to answer of who am I and what does that look like in a brand kit? And so there is a part of my identity that's an educator. There's a part of my identity that's an entrepreneur. There's a part of my identity that's an investor. And a part of my identity is I'm a Black woman. And it's interesting when you research some of the branding of luxury brands, of brands that exude wealth, their colors are often muted. So, like, think about like if you think of, even if you think of like a Louis Vuitton, where like their signature is a neutral brown. Like, of course, they got like prints, but if you think about their signature monogram style, like luxury is often muted in terms of colors. And that felt countercultural to me, where I'm like, what would it look like to create a personal brand that intentionally intersects luxury, wealth, and also my identity as a Black woman, where I believe actual culturally Blackness is so rich in everything and all the things that we're everything but muted. Like we are the designers of culture. So I can't be muted. And obviously, naturally, myself, who I am, I'm not muted. So, what does that look like in the representation of a brand? So, what you see here on the mood board, and this is some of the things that, from a meta moment standpoint, of colors, that actually colors have meaning. There's certain colors that communicate certain messages where Aseli just named it in the chat. purple communicates royalty, right? What do we think of when we think of green? What do you think of when you think of green? Come on, Liz. Money, right? So the color choices are intentional. And this is what I want you to pick up on and why I say in our community, I actually discourage you from starting with the website because most of the time you don't know who your brand is that early to actually create something that can ride with you for at least 5 years. You don't know your brand yet. You don't know what messaging you want to create because you still got to experiment, right? But now having a business for 8 years, you know, being full time in my business for 5 years, y'all know I'll be posting on social media. Like I've tested enough to be able to clearly articulate who I am. So I'm going to show you the website here in a second, but I want you to show how the thing, particularly my OGs, like you've been around me, you know what I represent. Like it's fascinating to me that one of the compliments that I get is I'm so down to earth. When people assume that when you increase in your wealth, that you become disconnected and you look down on people. And that's actually the opposite because my core is I'm an educator who got paid $33,000, right? So I will never disrespect or look down on anybody. So when you see the website, I want you to take note of how does colors communicate that story that I want to name around my different identities and how does that show up? Okay. So let's take it to the website. Let me get a little drum roll in the chat. I'm going to pull up the website here. My brand new relaunched as of today website, which is literally just my name, ericajordanthomas.com. This is the new website. So you'll see this mixture. So again, like for my clients and community, like there's lots of other meta moments that I want you to pay attention to because we have a module called 7-figure sales pages. Like a website is a sales tool. So what the tabs are, what the buttons are, where they're placed matters. The copy matters. What's highlighted, what's bold, what's in size 20 font versus 12 font. All these things are so intentional. Notice the placement of the scripting of now I'm going from the brand is 7-figure educator to on my personal website, the 7-figure educator. And baby, I'm not gonna be able to ride for that too long because soon it's gonna be the 8-figure educator. Okay, clock it, clock it, clock it. But from a positioning standpoint, notice we got the pre-order the book right at the top because that is our focus right now from a marketing standpoint is book pre-orders. You don't have to scroll to buy the book. It's right there on the site, right? If Patrice just clocked something powerful, I intentionally went with a single page. I didn't want to do all these tabs. I didn't want it to be complex. I wanted it to be super clean and you don't have to click. You can just scroll, right? So even that was an intentional choice. You have a little bit of my story here in the classroom, when it all changed, what I teach now. So my story is there. I'm an educator by training, but a visionary and builder by design. So particularly for my mastermind folks that are here tonight, take note on the copy. And of course, you got the website now. We'll drop the personal website, ericajordanthomas.com in the chat. I want you to study it because everything we've talked about related to sales pages, related to pain points, to transformation, all of that is baked into this page. Karen says the colors are lush. Ooh, I love the word lush. Woo! Lush. Okay. Notice where now our eye has movement with video, right? Notice how with the sectioning, the orders of the section, we got a work with me, speaking and strategy support, how I help. Notice what's happening here with the text that's moving. I'm calling out my target audience of who do I help, the way to be able to call in people really quickly. And then I got the book. The book is at the bottom of the page just because this is not the book page, this is my personal website, but the book is on the page. Okay. The book is on the page. We are at 973 pre-orders. Let's go, which means we just had like 60 some pre-orders. I think we could get to 1,000. I think we could get to 1,000. I mean, it's only 27 more orders. So text your friends, text them the link, text your auntie, text your cousin, text his bestie. Go ahead and text them the link. Let's go ahead and drop the book link order one more time in the chat. And then at the bottom of the page, we got the 7-Figure Educator memo, which is my new Substack, which we're prioritizing for our clients who have language to the strategic planning process. Substack is one of my Q1 priorities. So you'll notice that that's on the page there. And then we got listen to the podcast, subscribe to YouTube, follow me on socials. Okay. So let me know in the chat when you look at the personal website, what sticks out to you? Like, what's the teachable moment? What are you making note of? Obviously, we already got some reflections in terms of the colors. And again, like, notice because my branding is very intentional of I am an educator at my core and I position myself for business. I ain't got no pencils. I ain't got no scissors. I ain't got no chalkboard. That is not a part of my branding. I actually want to create the opposite because I want to create a narrative where being an educator can feel luxe. It can feel luscious to be an educator. It can feel expensive to be an educator, right? Dr. A said it's one page. Yes, one page. Dion says the website is so clean, elegant, not chaotic. It's peaceful. Prioritizing book orders at the top. You shine without trying. Aw, thank you. Thank you, Brianna. The design, texture. So that's another thing that's in the brand kit. And Mastermind, I might have to do a little BPS with you all so that way you all can see this from once our brand kit gets finalized. Mastermind, we could take a deep dive into it during one of my calls. But notice the texture. And this was actually a result of Mecca's genius. I want you to see this because again, this is an intentional marketing thing. Oh, I think it's in the middle. Oh, here we go. Actually, but I want it in green. It's here. The EJT logo. I think it's on the book page. Okay, so let me go to the book page. I want to point something out to you because this speaks to, again, the level of intentionality and some of the like subtleness of the branding. I want you to, and it's super subtle. It's super subtle. It's super, super subtle in terms of like this little design detail. There's a couple of different elements to the branding. There's the actual page. There is my personal branding. There's the colors. There's the kit. And so here's what I want to show you. I'm actually going to do this. Gotcha. All right. So this right here. You see this little emblem right here? I think y'all can see my cursor. You see this like EJT, it almost looks like a stamp. And you see that texture that's around it. All right, now I want to show you this. And this is all a result of Mecca's genius. And when she showed this to me, I was like, this is genius. I want you to look at the texture around the $100 bill. You see that texture around the bill? Clock it. You see it? Like literally, don't look at Benjamin Franklin. Act like he ain't there. But look at the texture. That is the border of the money. That's intentional. That's intentional. So little things like that are ways to be able to communicate a branding positioning. And it's not super obvious, right? But when you start to put it against a gold, and we have like this kind of like, I don't know if the proper term is like a scribe almost, but this gold pattern, it starts to pop, and then it's kind of hard to see, but if you zoom in on that cream, it has a little bit of subtle texture to it, because when you look at $100 bill on the background, it's cream, but it has, there's a little bit of texture in the background. And even if you look at the logo that's behind the 100, all of that was inspiration for that. So again, this is why I'm like, particularly my OGs, you have the language of E1, E2, E4. When you're E1 to E4, it's hard to have an opinion or detail around, to have an opinion around the details, because you just got to experiment a little bit more. Okay. So just wanted to point some of those things out, because I think they're really, really important details from a branding standpoint. And I wanted to have that opportunity to be able to uh, go deep and unpack with you all, of not just, it's more than a reveal and launch. Like, I actually wanted to give you some of the behind the scenes. If you hadn't noticed what I'm wearing, the color that I'm wearing, it's intentional. So if you see me out here in these streets and I'm at my website and I'm talking about my book, it's intentional. And let me tell you, my mentor told me this, but this is why as educators, I'm like, it's another moment where it's like, this isn't new. Because as a principal, during my first week, I wore the colors of the school. Like, that is like 101. Principal 101, entry planning, is you better wear them school colors during the first week at minimum. Definitely the first day. Like, non-negotiable. The first day you need to be in them school colors. Okay? So just a little tidbit there. All right, good people. Let me know. Let me know your biggest takeaways from tonight. If you haven't dropped your Apple in the chat to represent your pre-order, go ahead and drop your Apple. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank a couple of folks who were behind the scenes, making all of this come to life, without them, tonight wouldn't have been possible for a variety of reasons. So first off, I have to shout out Lovey Ajahi, who is one of a couple of my book mentors, my book coach. Have to show her love for all the ways she's poured into me, poured into informing our team. Lovey was actually the first one who told me, you need to read your audiobook. When I said I didn't want to do it, she's like, that is a non-negotiable. And y'all told me too. Y'all snatched my edges back. Lovey was the first one. She was like, absolutely not. You cannot say you're not doing your audiobook. You need to read it. You have to. So I got to show love to Lovey Ajahi. I got to shout out Sky High Interactive, Yoni and Becca, for they are the designers behind the cover. And so they have been a tremendous partner in being able to support us in that work. I got to shout out Emma Rose Agency. The CEO and founder is Tiffany. She is the brain trust behind the website and designing the website, as well as the branding, the colors, the mood board. That is all a result of Tiffany's genius. I have to shout out Lilac from York, who is our graphic design team. They helped bring all of the brand elements to life with graphics, with slide decks. So shout out to Lilac from York. I got to shout out Real Designs Media Team, who obviously we would not be streaming tonight without them. So shout out to Riot, who's over here sitting off to the side. Shout out to him and his team, as well as a lot of the assets leading up to tonight. I got to shout out Alan Cooley Collective. Alan was the photographer behind all of the photos that you see on the personal website as well as the book website. I've got to show love to Alan. Shout out to Germany. The OGs know Germany. Germany keeps us right and tight. So shout out to Germany for styling the shoot. She also picked this top. Okay. So I'm about to y'all say a prayer for Germany, because she is about to find all of the green, teal, purple, and wine things for me over the next 6 months. She's about to be on the hunt for all of the book color clothing, so that way I can fully represent out in these streets. I got to shout out Ebony for hair with the photo shoot, Bree for makeup, and of course, have to shout out the Seven Figure Educator team for all of their behind the scenes support. I know we've got a few of them here tonight, and I've got to shout out Mecca. I gotta show love to Mecca, who is behind the scenes right now. She's in the chat. Mecca did something that is a huge feat in less than 90 days that also happened to overlap with the holiday break. Tonight would not have been possible without her. And so I have to show her so much love and gratitude. And so for the OGs who know Mecca, connect the next time that you see her because her zone of genius is activated. Okay, I was waiting on your permission because we hadn't had a little side conversation yet. Because once it's out there, it's out there. So can I say it? Okay. So for the OGs who didn't know, it's not it's still new and fresh, but you know Mecca as the genius behind the camera lens in the company, Seven Figure Educator. So she has been with us from the beginning. Literally every single professional photo that I have ever taken, Mecca was behind the camera. And if you saw the Set It Off tour, she was actually the creative director behind that entire campaign. I literally just told her Set It Off in cities, and she came up with everything else. So you know her as a photographer, but that is just an ounce of her level of genius that Mecca at her heart and soul and in her bones, she is a marketer and she is a creative director. And so it is my absolute honor and privilege to have her formally a part of our team. She is our manager of marketing and content strategy. And so Mecca is an official member of Team Seven Figure Educator. And she has been with us for about 90 days. And in the first 90 days, she did not just one, but two websites. She has launched, created a campaign for a New York Times book launch. Sis has been in her big bag, and it's only been 90 days. So I would be remiss if I did not honor her verbally as well as in a number of different ways for everything that she's poured into us in the last 90 days and over the last 4 years. So Mecca is on her big one. All right, good people. We're going to drop the link one more time here. We'll take a last opportunity if there's any questions that folks have, whether it's about pre-orders or anything that I shared. We'll take a last opportunity for pre-orders or for questions related to pre-orders. Tatiana said she's going to tackle you gently when she sees you. So when are we going to be on the Today Show? Listen, when are we? Because you know it ain't enough for me to get on a flight. Okay, when are we gonna be on the Today Show? If you got a contact, let me know, honey. Because listen, I'm trying to be there. And Tamron, if you got a contact at Tamron Hall, let us know. Let us know. But there's some big things that we're plotting on the back end. And here's the thing that I want to make sure we don't end without saying. And I've said it a couple times, but y'all, this is bigger than me. And I think of the powerful quote by Maya Angelou that says, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And I want you to know that every single time I get on a stage, I get on Zoom, I am on a TV show, I'm writing an article, I'm on the radio, what you see happening over the next 5 months, anytime I get on a mic to talk about Seven Figure Educator, I am not standing as one, I'm standing as 10,000. And that 10,000 is, yes, all of the people that came before me, and that 10,000 is also you. So know that is the way I view this book launch journey, is I am bringing each and every one of you with me. I come as one, but I stand as us, that I am out here proudly and boldly representing what absolutely has to be true for educators across this country of not waiting on the respect, why not waiting on the wealth, demanding the respect and wealth, because if anybody deserves to be a millionaire, it's an educator. And so I'm really, really excited and happy for this time tonight. And I also say that if you all have connections with anybody who, whether it's print publications like Essence, Black Enterprise, Forbes, if you got people who are in PR or showrunners or placements for film, television, any type of press that you think would be really helpful in supporting this movement, please, please, please reach out to us. And if you'd be open to making a connection, we would welcome it. So we'll drop a couple of links here in the chat to wrap us. We'll drop the personal website link. If you haven't pre-order before you close your laptop or you lay down tonight. Go ahead, pre-order your book. We'll drop the books at sevenfigureeducator.com. Now I keep saying the wrong domain because that is a part of this marketing effort. If we have to change our domain. So our domain for too long has been ericajordanthomas.com. That internally we are in the process of turning over all of our domains to sevenfigureeducator.com. That's part of that separation. So for mastermind folks, I'm happy to have that conversation and go deeper during our next Q&A call if you want to learn more about that. Celeste said this is our Valentine's book to ourselves. Say less. Maybe you just gave me a campaign idea. Say less. Yes. Pre-order the hard copy, or excuse me, the paperback in addition to audio. So if you want to order audio, we don't want to stop you because I'm an audio girl, but also if you could please for me, order the pre-order or order the paperback, because the paperback is what is recognized for New York Times bestseller. So that's just a small request to do both. And if you want to gift the paperback, that's absolutely totally okay. All right. All right, team, Mecca, did I miss anything? Oh, come on, J Hood Spirit Tunnel. Baby, I gotta dance.
I'm feeling J Hood.
I listen, and baby, you know I'm on a health journey. My knees are coming back. So I might get down that little spirit tunnel and start getting low, baby. And they clapping and I'm getting hyped, baby. My knees might take me somewhere that they ain't been before or been in a long time. All right, good people. We love you. We appreciate you. Stay tuned. Thank you to everyone who has already submitted their pre-orders. We love you. We appreciate you. And it's just the beginning. Keep an eye out in your email for further information about the bonuses. You should already, you should get is the confirmation email automatic? You'll get an automatic confirmation email once you complete the form. If you got any questions, email us at book@sevenfigureeducator.com. For our clients, this is a meta moment. Please don't email support. We got a specific email address for the book. So book@sevenfigureeducator.com. Anything related to the book, email it to book@sevenfigureeducator.com. And we will be in touch with new happenings and keep you all abreast and updated. I love you all. You have a great, great night. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you in advance for the pre-orders. And again, if you're interested in the bulk orders, email us at books@sevenfigureeducator.com. We got those 2 VIP day spots. I didn't even check the email. People may have already reached out, but you want to move fast. That means when we send you the invoice, it's not first to email, it's first to pay, like the trademark office. It's not the first in use, it's the first to file. Okay? The first to pay the invoice. Y'all have a great, great night. We'll see you soon. Love you much. And bye.